Have you ever wondered how a single city, Rome, managed to build one of the largest empires in history? We often hear about the might of its legions, the genius of its generals, and the grandeur of its architecture. But what if I told you there was a hidden weapon, a secret engine that powered this colossal expansion? It wasn't just swords and sandals, it was coins and contracts. Today we're diving deep into the financial secrets of ancient Rome and revealing how money, in its many forms, was the true key to its world domination. Let's start at the beginning. In its early days, Rome was just one of many city-states on the Italian peninsula. Their economy was simple, based on bartering goods and services. But as their ambitions grew, they realized they needed a more efficient system. The solution? Coinage. The introduction of standardized silver coins, like the denarius, was a game-changer. Suddenly, transactions became smoother, trade became easier, and most importantly, the state gained a powerful new tool. This wasn't just money. It was propaganda in your pocket. Each coin was stamped with the face of the emperor or symbols of Roman power, a daily reminder to every citizen and subject of who was in charge. So how did this new financial system fuel the Roman war machine? First, let's talk about paying the soldiers. Before standardized coinage, armies were often temporary militias, fighting for a season and then returning to their farms. But with a steady supply of cash, Rome could build something unprecedented, a permanent professional army. Legionaries were paid a regular salary, a revolutionary concept that ensured their loyalty was to the state, not to a temporary commander. This created a disciplined, highly trained fighting force that could campaign for years on end, far from home. A soldier knew he'd get his pay, which he could send back to his family or save for retirement. This financial security turned soldiering from a civic duty into a desirable career, attracting the best and toughest recruits from across the Republic and later, the Empire. But soldiers' salaries were just the tip of the iceberg. Wars are incredibly expensive. You need weapons, armor, food for tens of thousands of men, siege equipment, and a massive logistical network to get it all to the front lines. This is where Rome's sophisticated financial system truly shone. The state developed a complex system of taxation. Conquered provinces weren't just subdued, they were integrated into a vast economic network. They paid taxes often in the form of grain, resources, or increasingly, cold hard cash. This wealth flowed back to Rome, funding not just the current military campaigns but future ones as well. It was a self-perpetuating cycle of conquest and profit. The more they conquered, the more taxes they collected, and the larger the army they could afford to field for the next invasion. Beyond taxes, the Romans were masters of public contracts, or publica. The state didn't build every road or supply every legion itself. Instead, it outsourced these massive projects to private companies run by wealthy citizens, known as publicani. These were the original military-industrial complex. The state would hold auctions for contracts to supply grain to an army in Gaul, or to build a new road in Spain. The publicani would bid for these contracts, and the winner would be responsible for delivering the goods or services. This system was incredibly efficient. It leveraged private wealth and ambition for public gain, allowing the state to mobilize resources on a scale never seen before. It also created a powerful class of wealthy individuals whose fortunes were directly tied to the success of Roman expansion, ensuring their political and financial support for further conquests. Now let's look at the flip side of conquest. What happened after the legions won? This is where Roman financial strategy was truly brilliant. Once a new territory was secured, Rome didn't just drain it of resources and leave. They invested. They built roads, aqueducts, and cities. Why? Because stable, prosperous provinces were more profitable. Roman roads, famously durable, weren't just for moving troops. They were commercial superhighways. They connected the entire Mediterranean world, allowing goods, people, and of course Roman coins to flow freely. A merchant could now safely transport Spanish olive oil to Britain or Egyptian grain to Italy. This economic integration made the provinces dependent on Rome and gave them a stake in the empire's success. It was cheaper to join the Roman economic club than to fight it. People in conquered lands started using Roman currency, adopting Roman laws and eventually even seeing themselves as Romans. This was cultural and economic assimilation, all powered by a shared financial system. Another clever financial tool was debt. When Rome defeated an enemy, they would often impose massive war indemnities, huge fines that the defeated state had to pay over many years. Take Carthage, Rome's great rival. After the Second Punic War, Carthage was saddled with a crushing debt to Rome. This financial burden prevented them from rebuilding their military and challenging Roman power again. It was a way of keeping potential rivals permanently weakened without having to occupy their territory indefinitely. Debt became a leash, a financial chain that kept former enemies in check. This strategy allowed Rome to control vast areas indirectly, using financial power where military power would have been too costly to maintain. But this complex system wasn't without its problems. The reliance on constant expansion to bring in new wealth meant that when the empire stopped growing, its economy began to stagnate. The cost of defending vast borders became a massive drain on the treasury. Emperors began to debase the currency, mixing less valuable metals like copper into their silver coins to stretch the money supply. This led to rampant inflation. People lost faith in the value of their money. A coin that could buy a loaf of bread one year might only buy half a loaf the next. This economic instability created social unrest and weakened the state from within, contributing significantly to the eventual decline and fall of the Western Roman Empire. The very financial tools that built the empire, when mismanaged, helped to tear it apart. So when we look back at the incredible story of Rome, let's remember it's not just a tale of military might. It's a story of financial innovation. The standardized denarius, the professional salaried army, the vast taxation network, the public-private partnerships, the use of debt as a weapon, and the economic integration of its provinces, these were the hidden pillars that supported the Roman eagle. They transformed a small city-state into a world-spanning empire, proving that the hand that holds the purse strings can be just as powerful as the hand that holds the sword. The legacy of Rome's financial system is all around us, in our own systems of currency, taxation, and government contracts. It's a powerful reminder that behind every great empire there's a great economic engine. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into Rome's financial past. If you found this fascinating, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden histories, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Let me know in the comments what other historical secrets you'd like us to uncover next. Until then, stay curious.